Good afternoon to all of our Preschool Promise grantees. This is Anaí Garibay. I am your new Preschool Promise Communications Coordinator, and today we are going to review the 23-24 Preschool Promise Site Information Report that is due from all Preschool Promise grantees by June 20th, 2023. You can access this report by clicking on our SharePoint site and going through the third quarterly all grantee meeting slide deck. And also you can access this at the bottom of the signature line on all of our Preschool Promise emails. As always, if you have any questions or need the direct link, please email us at psp@ode.oregon.gov, and we would be happy to send you a straight link for you to fill that out. Let's get started. So this is a 23-24 Preschool Promise Site Report that we have here. The first things that we want to remind you of are these bullet points right here on the left-hand side. Please remember that these items here were covered during our all grantee meeting for the third trimester, and there have been a few changes. The first change was, actually, this one's not a change, but there is a minimum requirement of 900 direct service hours. The change here was that there cannot be no fewer than 265 consecutive calendar days between the first and the last instructional day. If you look over here on the right-hand side, once you get to this part here, you will see that there is an example of those dates. So if you started your program on September 12th, 2023, it cannot end any earlier than June 3rd, 2024. So that would be those 265 consecutive calendar days between this date and this date. And again, there is flexibility on that depending on when you start and when you end. The next thing to keep in mind is that direct service hours need to be no less than 6 hours per day, and of those, no less than 4 days a week. The direct service hours must be between 7 and 5 p.m. and any program closures should not exceed 21 calendar days. Anything that goes beyond that is going to need the approval of the agency. So definitely reach out to us if you have any questions about any of these specific changes. Let's get started on the form. So up here, you will be selecting your region, then select your grantee or provider name, and then next is your site. Now, we do want to make sure that everybody understands if you are a grantee that has multiple sites, you will be filling out one of these forms for each one of those sites. Also, please remember that these reports must be submitted prior to us granting the 23-25 grant for each one of your sites. The next part here asks if you have any updates to your license, RA number, or your site ID. And for example, if you've added a new site and it's been approved and you don't see it under this particular dropdown, then you can include it here. And that you would just need to type. The next part here asks who we should contact regarding general information. And this could change depending on how you have your business structured. So we want a site contact name, a contact phone number, and a contact email, please. And if for some reason you have a backup person that does not share this email address, you could include that second email address here. The next section of this asks, is this site subcontracted? This means, are you providing the direct services or someone else? So here you would indicate which one of those applies. Is this site providing Preschool Promise transportation services? You can answer that here. And what's the setting type of this particular site? Home-based, center-based, school-based. What number of Preschool Promise sites do you have at this site? And what number of classrooms do you have with Preschool Promise children in them? The next question talks about the Spark rating or classification, and you have options here. And as a reminder, all Preschool Promise grantees are required to participate in Spark. So here's an opportunity for you to let us know where you're at with that process. The next question asks for the Preschool Promise program start date. Again, we want to continue the expectation that you can have that you should have 265 consecutive calendar days between the first and the last day of instruction. So for example, if I'm starting my program on September 15th, I would plug that in here, September 15th. And because that's 3 days after this, I'm just going to follow that same generic example. So the end date would be, just keep clicking until you get there, it would be June 3rd, it would be June 5th. Perfect. The following question asks the days of operation. So here you could do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and if my program is only going to operate 4 days, then I can indicate that there, or if my program operates all 5, we could put that in there as well. And then the times that they start between 7 and 5 p.m. So you can indicate your start time and your end time here. The next question that it asks is how many total preschool promise hours per day? Now, please be mindful. This is how many hours per day, not per month. The following area here asks you to please upload a copy of your calendar of services for this particular site. For this site, what you would want to do is you can just drag and drop the files here. And just as a reminder, we only need the calendar for the year 23-24. So for just this upcoming calendar year. We also want to know what the language model of instruction is, the primary curriculum that you're going to use. And if these are not any of the ones that you are using, and you're using something separate, like let's say, for example, on a curriculum, you would want to type it out and then hit enter before you exit out of this field. What we found is that there's a glitch. If you do the name of the curriculum and then exit out of the field, it deletes it and then you're not able to move forward. So remember, enter the name of your curriculum, hit enter first, and then move to the next field. This following question asks if there's any supplemental curricula that you're going to be using. If you are, listed here. What social and emotional curriculum are you going to be using? You can use one of these, or again, use the same formatting as above. The next question asks, which child level assessment are you going to use? And you've got a couple of options there. And the next one is which developmental screening tool is going to be used. And as a reminder, you do have a requirement per your preschool promise agreement to use the ASQ and ASQ SE screening tools. The last two questions are important. Ready facilities. Here you will indicate the number of preschool promise staff that is at this site. And last but not least, will this site be ready to start preschool promise services in full 15 days before the start date given? So this includes, like, do you have your facility ready? Is your classroom ready to go? Have you hired all the staff? If your answer is yes, you can indicate that here. We do want to remind you that answering no to this question may result in the inability to grant with us for this particular site. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to the Preschool Promise email at psp@ode.oregon.gov. And we hope that this was helpful as you are filling out your 23-24 Preschool Promise Site Information report. Again, that is due by June 20th, 2023. And if you have any questions, you know how to reach us. Thank you.